Hello, 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 everyone. What is going on? James here, Jimmy C. With me, Mr. TGC, Liam.
Yes. Hello there.
And as you can tell by the title today, we will be reviewing SpongeBob SquarePants Season 1. So, yeah, I guess, I'll just to give you all a bit of background. I watched this show a lot as a kid, and I think I got up to season 4. No, sorry, not season 4. I think like season 6 or 7. But they're only some episodes. Like when I skimmed through it on IMDb a few weeks ago, there were some episodes which I thought, oh yeah, I've seen this one. But then there was other episodes which I thought I never saw this on TV back in like 2009. I don't know if they just weren't airing it on Nicktoons. So yeah, I just was a bit unsure as to where certain episodes were. But yeah, I watched it a lot as a kid. Rewatching. I'm on nearly series 3. I'm towards the end of series 2. Rewatching it has been a lot of fun. Obviously, SpongeBob, it's an iconic long-running show. I feel like there's probably no other kids' cartoon which comes close to its success, really. Like, I'm on about cartoon purely, mostly for kids. Like, obviously, you got The Simpsons, but that's more of a... It is for kids, but it's like a 12 plus in it, so it's sort of like for adults as well, pardon me.
Yeah.
And obviously South Park, that's completely for adults, isn't it? So, and Family Guy is completely for adults, but it's not really. There's a lot more shit in it than good. And the good doesn't, for me, the good doesn't outweigh the shitness like the SpongeBob goodness sort of does. But yeah, do you want to sort of say your background with the show? I guess if you watched it as a kid or anything.
Yeah. So yeah, again, like you, I used to watch it loads as a kid as well. Like I think I remember. Well, it's probably on and off at times at primary school. I think the one time I remember watching it a lot was probably like year 5 of primary school. But yeah, I used to just. I think most of the time I tended to watch it like before school, and then maybe the odd time, maybe when I was like if I had a day off school because I was ill or something. Yes, it's pretty much like when I was in primary school. Yeah, I watched it all the time. Loads of episodes. A lot of the same episodes are repeated, and that's why I was surprised when you said that like you didn't remember some of the watching some of the series 1 episodes. Was it when you were a kid? Because I all the episodes I watched from series 1, I remember watching as a kid. So
I mean, if I go through the whole caboodle, I'm trying to think of ones which I completely didn't remember. There's probably a few which I didn't realise are in series 1. I'm trying to think which one. Um, no, I can't lie. I pretty much do remember all these episodes. Yeah, I really can't lie. I remember them all. I don't know if it was like I'm guessing it was probably like later seasons, which I might not be able to remember as well. But yeah, I pretty much remembered all these when I watched them in season 1. I don't know if it'll be any different for season 2. It probably won't be, but I'll have a look.
mhm.
But yeah, I'm guessing, when we do get to season 4 and 5, there's probably going to be some that I can't remember as well or remember at all. But yeah, let's get this started then with looking at the episode. So the first episode is Help Wanted. This is where it all started off. And a lot of kids' animated shows, it's sort of like, I don't know, it's that they end up with just so like in the first episode of actually most shows in general, it's like this is how life is. Like in The Simpsons, you don't see how Marge met home, and this is just they were the family. We're filming them. The series takes place while they're a family. We don't need to see how they met or see Bart and Lisa and Maggie Maggie before she was born and Bart and Lisa when they was younger. We don't need any of that. We're just seeing everything how it is now. Family Guy, you're seeing Peter, Lois, the kids just as they are. You know what I'm saying? There isn't any backstory in the first episode. It's just this is the status quo and this is how it is. So it's nice to actually see SpongeBob, actually get the job at the brilliant, fantastic fast food eating establishment that is the Krusty Krab. I mean, in the episode, he just seems so hyped up to just get a job interview at a shitty fast food place. He's like, I'm ready, going ballistic. And then he thinks, oh, I can't work there. Come on, man. But then Patrick's like, you can do it, SpongeBob. I'm giving you some good advice here. So yeah, it's just nice to see how enthused he is for an interview. And then Mr. Krabs and Squidward, they're sort of like, oh well, should we hire him? Shouldn't we hire him? No, let's not hire him. Let's send him on some wild goose chase for a bloody stupid spatula with a million different gadgets, which isn't going to exist. And or there's only a few characters in the first episode, which I do like that. I like how they're not introducing every single person in the first episode, because then things can just become too cluttered and mad. And yeah, it's quite funny with all the anchovy. Oh yeah, I can smell that smelly smell. That
Oh
smelly,
yeah, yeah,
smelly anchovies.
yeah.
And then you
I
have that
remember that.
song.
Yeah.
Then you have that song by Tiny Tim, the living in the sunlight, loving in the moonlight, having a wonderful time. And then SpongeBob
Yeah.
gives all the anchovies Krabby Patties, and that's the end of the episode. He's got that job straight away. Mr. Krabs is like, Mr. Squidward, we're hiring him now. So that's quite cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, those moments were a bit more memorable. But yeah, otherwise though, I mean, I suppose it's like it was an okay, introduction to the show, I guess, and which showed how SpongeBob got the job at the Krusty Krab. But I did find, I don't know, I personally just found SpongeBob um, irritating. It was one of those episodes where he was, I don't know, I just found him to be quite irritating.
Well, because he was such a shill for the Krusty Krab, or
Maybe, yeah. I think it's just the way he was acting as well. It's just more annoying than usual. Some episodes he's better and he's more sort of like a bit more dialed back, whereas in this one, yeah, he's quite full on and yeah, quite annoying, quite like I say, irritating really. But
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I guess there's a lot of shouting and silliness, and him being very enthused to
mm.
work at a shitty fast food restaurant where Mr. Krabs is going
Yeah,
to hog most of the earnings. But each to their own. I personally thought it was a very good episode and a good way to kickstart the show.
yeah. I'd say it was okay personally.
Bloody hell! I'm looking at the release dates, and it didn't come. The first episode didn't, because it says like when it came out in Ireland, England, well, the UK and America and all that jazz. England and Ireland, it came out 3rd of Jan, but New Zealand didn't get it until the 1st of August 2006. How's that happened?
Wow.
7 years later. What the hell? That's just baffling.
Damn,
Australia got it in 2000, so I don't see why it took New Zealand, why it would have took 6 years for the episode to be released there. That's bloody madness. I'll even get it up now just in case anyone thinks I'm bullshitting. But absolute madness. I'm not going to make such a big deal out of all the other episodes when they're released in New Zealand. But there you go. Look, there it is.
Mm.
Whoops. Right, it takes me to the New Zealand wiki page. But yeah, there it is, New Zealand. Crazy. 2006. Absolute madness.
Yeah.
Anyway, did you think it was good overall, or did you think it was a soft episode, or average, or?
Nah, I thought it was like, I don't know. I guess it was like, yeah, I'd probably say average. Yeah, to be fair.
Well, now on to Reef Blower then. I guess it's a bit funny with how SpongeBob winds up Squidward and all the water ends up getting sucked into the Reef Blower, and then it all gets shot out, and he's blowing Squidward's nose and blowing his face when Squidward's just trying to have a good time and just chill out. The animations are quite funny, especially Squidward's face and the Reef Blower blowing everything. It's quite satisfying to watch. I'd say it was a well above average little silent short, to be honest.
Mm. Yeah, it's annoying because it hasn't been long since I watched all these episodes, but I just can't remember some of them as well, like this one. But I don't think I'll put it as one of my favorites, so I guess it wasn't like as memorable to me either. And yeah, so it was probably What happened in the episode again? What was the sort of like plot?
Basically, it was all like silent. It was just sort of Squidward and SpongeBob titting around. Basically, Squidward goes outside and he's chilling out, and then he kicks a shell onto SpongeBob's lawn, and so SpongeBob gets out the reef blower, and because he's just he's trying to blow the little shell, but it ends up blowing so much crap at Squidward, so much sand, and SpongeBob's just trying to get rid of the shell, but it ends up blowing loads of sand, as I say. Trying to. Oh yeah, he puts it in reverse, and then Squidward's nose gets sucked in the reef blower, which looks a bit suspect.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh yeah, he sucks. As I mentioned, he sucks the entire ocean. And it says causing Squidward to almost suffocate to death, but the reef blower explodes due to the capacity and shoots all the sucked up water back out. The episode ends with SpongeBob happy and the lawn is clean, while Squidward's lawn is filled with sand and a shell lands on his nose.
I think I must have either thought the episode was decent or it was okay, like the first one. Again, like I said, though, not one of my favorites personally. So probably, yeah. So like I said, I guess average, if not
Fair enough.
maybe decent. Yeah.
So now the next episode is getting introduced to Sandy Thick Butt Cheeks. Ooh, no, but Sandy Cheeks. You basically SpongeBob's knocking around, and then he sees her resting the clam, and he's got to go and save her from the clam, even though it's Sandy's doing most of the work. But hey ho, there you go. And then she saves SpongeBob from the clam as well, and she's like, "Well, howdy." You can come to my tree dome. And then we get the iconic line from Patrick when, because SpongeBob goes to him for advice, like, I'm going to meet this lady squirrel. Can you give me some advice? Then he's like, when in doubt, stick your pinky out. And that's where I got I don't know if you remember, but that's where I got the, when in doubt, stick your pinky out and shout, William the Great. Yeah, I'm not going to say the surname, but yeah. William Fart Fight. William the Great. There we go. That's where I got that classic meme from.
Okay, yeah. You might have said that a while ago. Yeah. I think I remember that.
Well, I said it a lot more. I've said it a lot more in school, but yeah. I mean, it's nothing against the bloke. It's just a funny, like it's just sticking your pinky out and shout his name. William's a pretty cool name, a bit of a fancy name. But yeah, anyway, so Patrick says, when in doubt, stick your pinky out. So yeah, he rolls up to Sandy's house, and then basically, SpongeBob's like, shit, I need water. But he's like, no, I've got to be tough. I've got to show Sandy what's what, and not have too much water. Because Sandy probably, considering she's a smart scientist, I'm surprised that she doesn't notice that a sponge would need water. But there you go. But yeah, I like the close-ups when he's severely dehydrated. Those are really good. I like how Patrick comes in. He's like, no, I'm coming to, I'll save you, buddy. And he's like, and then they're both dried up. But then obviously Sandy gets a helmet for them both. And they just have water. They can breathe the water in, and they end up having tea in the helmet as well. So, yeah, I like the close-ups. I like the story. I like how he's like, I don't need it. I don't need it. I need it. All the madness, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. A great introduction to Sandy Thick Cheeks as well.
Yeah, it's an episode I remember fairly well. That's been on a lot. Yeah, again, it's not one of my favorites, but it's you know, it's kind of decent again, I suppose. Yeah, like you said, it's kind of a bit odd that, you know, Sandy doesn't know that, you know, that Sponge needs water, but and that whole and all of that. But yeah, I suppose I don't know. I suppose there's probably a few bits of like funny humor here and there. But again, like I say, it's kind of decent maybe. So, you know, not crazy about this one again.
Well, I'd say it's just another good episode, but now we come on to an absolute banger. Bubble
Yes, finally.
Stand! Hooray!
Yep.
Absolute classic. Really enjoy this one. It's just absolute bants. SpongeBob building the bubble stand and how angry Squidward gets. And you see this a lot with the characters in the show. How, you know, SpongeBob and Patrick will be doing something, or just SpongeBob on his own. He'll make a lot of fun out of something simple, or he'll have some little immature scheme going on, and then Squidward will be like, "Oh well, I have to get this done. I have to prove myself," and all this nonsense, you know. And it was like 25 cents to blow a bubble, and he's going mad trying to blow the bubble. But you can see SpongeBob's blowing amazing bubbles like that big elephant, and Patrick goes, "It's a giraffe," which is quite an iconic line. And I like how a lot of episodes, not just this one, but a lot of them are just them titting around in their front gardens, you know. But it just shows, like, when you've got strong characters, you can just have your main characters titting around in the front garden. It doesn't need to be some big extravaganza in the middle of downtown Bikini Bottom. You can just have them farting around in the front lawn, you know, in the front yard. But yeah, it's so funny how SpongeBob is just like, you know, we're gonna bring it around town, then this, that, then. And then he blows a big bubble, and it's like an amazing, phenomenal thing. And Squidward keeps going, and he can't do it. And he keeps giving 25 cents. And then SpongeBob and Patrick going, technique, technique, technique.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which is Bants, and obviously Squidward's like, him absolutely going mad at the end is just very
losing it. Yeah, absolutely really losing it.
Pure Bants when he's like. Then do this, and bring it around town, and put one right foot
get
forward,
around
don't forget it, and then bring it around town and thrust away, and then you know, and then he makes oh yeah, exactly, absolute classic. Spang is better than SpongeBob. What are you going on about?
Is this one of George's alt accounts? Is it?
It says Callum's Plaz. Wow. Oh shit! It is because of the car he's used. For God's sake, George, you absolutely.
Oh, is it an MG?
No. If you, I don't want to get the picture, but basically, it's. I'll put it in the private chat.
Okay.
It's basically this edgy meme where VW cars try to take over the world.
Oh yeah. Ah, okay. Yeah, typical. Yeah.
Yep, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 witty humour from George. But what do you think of that one, to be honest?
So yeah, it's finally in my list of favourite episodes. And it probably is my favourite episode of the series, to be honest. Just love it. Like you say, some of the best episodes are just the simple concepts where it's just SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward just messing around like outside the houses and just annoying Squidward, and then he gets involved, and you know, and it's just funny, like, isn't it? Because SpongeBob's just so good at blowing bubbles and just making different objects out of bubbles, and Squidward, you know, being Squidward, thinks, oh, you know, that's easy, you know, piece of cake, I can do that. And then, oh, he can't do it. And then, yeah, it just all comes to a head when he just loses it. And, yeah, like I say,
pelvic thrust! Whoa! Whoa! Yeah. Double take 3 times!
Yeah. Yeah.
And bring it around town!
Yeah, and he goes like this, and he's making all sorts of shapes and whatever, his
Yeah,
body,
great animation.
and then he goes, "Ah, ah, ah, ah,"
Yeah.
with the massive bubble he ends up making in the end. And then I think after, what happens? Doesn't
He
is it the
floats up
massive
in the air,
bubble?
doesn't he? And then isn't he stuck with the seagull?
Doesn't his house get trapped in a massive
Oh, no,
bubble?
yeah, sorry, yeah. I'm thinking of Squid's Ghost when he gets stuck up on high land. Yeah, no, I think his house ends up flying in the air or something, then it ends up crashing
Yeah,
back
something.
down to the
Yeah, I
sea.
remember that being really funny and laughing at whatever happened at the end like that. And then yeah. Yeah, I think maybe it's the massive bubble that his house gets trapped in, and then, yeah, he starts going up, um, and then, uh, and then I think it just ends doesn't it end up just exploding or something? The
I'm not
bubbles
sure.
pop bursts or something funny like that, yeah.
I think it slams back down to the ground. I don't think it explodes.
Yeah, I just remember that
Um,
final sequence being hilarious too. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I wish I could remember that a bit more, but yeah, obviously I can remember just the bit with Squidward.
So you say that's your personal
Yeah.
favourite from series one?
I think so, yeah, to be honest. It's
Fair enough.
definitely the one I think I've laughed at the most, I'd say.
Would you say
I
it's
think.
objectively the best as well, or
Um, Probably, yeah,
fair enough?
yeah.
Um, I think it is high up there for me as one of my favourites and objectively the best. It might be. It's really close for second place between Bubble Stand and Squidward's Ghost, but obviously I think SB129 is the best. That one
Mm.
just absolutely slaps, to be honest with you. Fantastic episode. But yeah, it's that one and Squid's Ghost, which is probably second. Uh, but yeah, anyway, now on to Ripped Pants. It's when SpongeBob is trying to sort of, impress Sandy and Larry the lobster. He's like, showing off his muscles and all that jazz.
Introduction to Larry, yeah, for his first
Yeah.
episode.
And then SpongeBob is like, "Oh well, what do I do?" And then he accidentally rips his pants, and then everyone laughs at him. And at first he's embarrassed, but he thinks, "Oh, I can be the class clown. This is amazing." And then he keeps ripping his pants over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And then in the end, he thinks, "Oh, I'll have a brilliant edgy joke. I'll pretend to drown, and then I'll go when he's trying to revive me. I'll just go, I ripped my pants." Everyone's like, for God's sake, why did you do that? And then there was some other people who embarrassed themselves, like someone got sand in his buns, another person got sunburnt, and I don't remember what happened to the big whale. But then they made this absolute
Mm.
banger. The
Mm,
um,
yeah, most memorable part for
you
me,
know,
yeah.
the like a fool who went when Big Larry came down, I put him down. SpongeBob turned into a clown, and no girl ever wants
Never
to
wants to
dance
dance
with a
with a
fool
fool
who
who
went and
went and
ripped his
ripped
pants.
his
I
pants.
know I shouldn't mess around, I shouldn't. Pain feels
Pain
so much
feels so
worse.
much worse.
All
Yeah,
sand in the bones. Now I learn a lesson that I won't forget. Absolute amazing tune. Something I just
mm.
noticed. I know it's a bit weird to bring up, but it says the New Zealand episode actually released for the past few episodes. It says it released in New Zealand in 2000. So I don't see why a few episodes released in 2006 from series one, and then there's a few episodes that released in 2000. It must be really confusing for the kids that enjoy watching it at the time, or adults or teenagers or whoever.
Maybe. I guess a lot of the episodes kinda like with a lot of those episodes, though, it doesn't really matter what order you watch them in, I
Yeah, I guess
suppose.
apart from Help Wanted, they're not really that
Yeah.
relevant.
Mm.
Like when it comes to a continuous story. But even then, anyone can figure out how this dude works at a fast food restaurant. He loves his life. He has a laugh with Patrick. He jellyfishes. He does whatever. He does karate. He's trying to get his license at boating school. But yeah, Rick Pants. Obviously, Bubble Stand. That's an amazing, phenomenal episode. Rick Pants, good one in my opinion. Good episode.
Uh, yeah, it's probably, like, decent or good. Yeah, like I say, it was kind of the concept was, was I suppose somewhat interesting, even if I wasn't the most invested in it. But and of course, I suppose SpongeBob's being typical SpongeBob. Just trying to take the joke too far. I think to the point where it just gets
Yeah,
old quick.
yeah, of course.
But then, like I say, it tops off with a well-made song, yeah, a
True.
well-made original song, which is
And
got stuck in my head, and yeah.
And it taught me as a kid that sometimes you can run jokes into the ground, but then as an adult, we know a certain someone who was commenting earlier who seems to run jokes very far into the ground.
Yeah.
Example being his profile picture being a certain historical figure in the form of Cars, which he's made jokes using that person's picture again and again and again and again and again and again. So it just shows that. I mean, granted, I say yes and it quite a lot, but I do try and subvert everyone's expectations by weaseling them in, or the agenda, weaseling them in at certain funny moments, or just not overusing them. I wouldn't make an account called yes and have like a zoom in of your face or anything ridiculous,
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, now on to another one. Jellyfishing. I really do not like this one, man. I know you don't mind it too much, but bro, it just pisses me off, man. Like, this is the introduction to one of SpongeBob's hobbies, and all Squidward did was say, "Look, I don't want to go jellyfishing," and then he gets in a horrible accident where he crashes his bike, and for some reason it explodes, even though it's just a little bicycle.
Oh yeah.
Then
I
he's
might have
based.
found that bit a little bit funny, but just because of the humor aspect of it, but
I guess
just because it was an explosion, but
I guess Squidward going ah, and then go bow, ah, and then
yeah,
for
no,
no reason.
yeah,
He's kind of comical. But then obviously he's wheelchair bound while he's trying to recover from his injuries. And SpongeBob and Patrick are basically torturing a disabled person. And for me, the episode isn't criminally bad. It's not as bad as like later seasons with how bad Squidward gets treated for pretty much no reason. However, it annoys me. It makes me just want to shoot SpongeBob and Patrick. I just think you evil shits. Why the hell are you doing this for? And Squidward, I know as you mentioned privately, that he does get the last laugh sort of until he gets stung again at the end. But I just don't find it that funny. I just think that it's basically them torturing a disabled person. Subjectively, I bloody really dislike the episode. I absolutely just hate it. I think it's crap. But objectively, there's nothing criminally bad in there. I can't flaw the story or the jokes too much. It just pisses me off. The episode does an awful lot. Just gets on my nerves.
yeah. I don't know. Initially, I think I didn't have it in my favorites, but then like just after, I kind of put it in there. But I don't know. It's funny. I wonder now whether I should have bothered putting it on my list, but I guess I must have just found it maybe funny enough, I guess. Even though, like I say, the premise is, like I say, the premise can be annoying because of the way SpongeBob and Patrick treat Squidward for no good reason. But yeah, I think there must have just been maybe just enough like humor that I found funny. I think to like make it entertaining enough. But of course, there's those annoying aspects to it, and the unfortunate fact that he doesn't actually get the last laugh at the end. Unfortunately, even though that would have been deserved, but
yeah, definitely in this episode it would have been deserved. But yeah, I think this is just a very below average episode.
Probably. I mean, really, you'd think I'd probably say it was good because I've put it in my favourites, but I don't know. It's difficult because probably decent. Then probably one of my like. I think I might have said this to you before. Probably like towards the bottom of my favourites list, maybe. I guess.
Yeah. Well, now on to plankton crabs. Plankton crabs. Plankton. SpongeBob. The first episode, including Plankton, we see that he is a little Plankton who wants to just steal Mr. Krabs' formula so he can have the best restaurant, fast food establishment within like a bloody 1 mile radius. Well, not even, well, yeah, probably just a 1 mile radius. They are quite close together. The Krusty Krab and the Chum Bucket. And yeah, so I guess the first sequence where he's trying to steal the Krabby Patty's okay. It's quite funny him sneaking into SpongeBob's brain, taking over SpongeBob's brain. It always makes me cringe when SpongeBob's eyes go into the back of his head, but it's quite funny when he calls Squidward talentless. That was pretty hilarious, and Squidward's like completely timid. He's like, "Oh, that was quite funny." And obviously, the way the brain gets knocked around and knocks Plankton around, and when he plays evil music when he's laughing, that's pretty banterous as well.
Yeah.
Karen's quite a funny character as well. I think she says like there's jokes about weed in there where she's like 20% C and 20% weed. It's something weird like that, kind of funny.
Oh yeah.
So they snuck a cheeky they snuck a cheeky weed joke in there. And when SpongeBob makes the Krabby Patty, or I think he whips one out, Plankton rushes down to get it, but then falls into the analyzer, and then he ends up being stuck inside Karen, his computer wife. So that's a pretty funny way for Plankton to lose by his own hunger for the Krabby Patty.
Doesn't it? I was gonna say at the end there as well. Doesn't or is it the? Oh, is that what it is? That what it is? Does he end up like because?
Yeah, he has an analyzer to get the recipe, and he's trying to get SpongeBob to put it in there. But then he's like, "Oh, I want to eat it," and then he jumps out and hits the Krabby
Oh, that's
Patty.
right. Yeah. His hunger for the Krabby Patty got the better of him. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Because he almost had SpongeBob, didn't he? I suppose. Yeah. I was gonna say, does Scarlett Johansson voice this character as well, or is it just Mindy or whoever it is?
Just Mindy, bro. She's not coming on.
So it's not.
She's not
So it's
coming
not.
regularly.
No. Okay, I was wondering whether that was her or not, but sounded. I guess they sounded maybe a bit older than she would have been at the time. I think.
Yeah, I mean, in 1999, she would have been. I'm trying to look at who plays her.
I think she would have only been like 15.
Yeah, exactly. She wouldn't have been doing that, would she, at that age?
No. Yeah.
I mean, you never know, but she wouldn't have been able to sound so womanly. Yeah, it's someone called Jill Talley.
Okay.
She would have still sounded like a kid. She wouldn't have sounded like an adult. But yeah, Jill Talley, 61 years old. She's Karen. And yeah, obviously, Scarlett Johansson, she's not going to be voice acting for SpongeBob all these years. She's got bigger fish to fry, ain't she?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say Plankton was great. Slapped, quite funny.
Yeah, I'd say so too. Yeah, like you say, I found all those parts funny that you mentioned, and good introduction to Plankton. I thought it was a, a good arc too, and how it ended with Plankton getting defeated, and yeah, just had the full package really, I suppose. So one of my favourites too, probably top 3, probably. Oh wait, yeah, probably top 3 or top 4 or something. So yeah.
Yeah, fair enough, man. It'd be fairly up there for me as well. But anyway, now on to Naughty and Nautical Neighbours. I like how we get a view of SpongeBob and Patrick and Squidward's backyards instead of their front yards. Patrick's got a grill and some rubbish bins, and SpongeBob actually has a garage door at the back of his house and a back door, which I guess makes sense, and some windows at the back of his house as well. And Squidward just has one little window out the back. Obviously, SpongeBob and Patrick are titting around outside, blowing bubbles to each other. And when the bubbles pop, words come out. Squidward was like, bloody hell, they're making so much noise. So what he does, he basically blows a bubble himself and then makes the bubble say a stupid thing to Patrick. So then Patrick says something to SpongeBob. They both fall out with each other. And then Squidward's like, oh, I can chill out now, finally, some peace and quiet. But then he nearly chokes to death because he's laughing at SpongeBob and Patrick falling out with each other and being angry. And then Patrick saves his life. And then and then he's like, oh, thanks so much. Come in, be my guest. And he plays the clarinet. He starts going, and Patrick just completely goes asleep. And then he's trying to get rid of Patrick and carry him out. But then he's like, oh, my back. Oh. go. And SpongeBob's like, I'm coming. He's like, no, 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 no. And he's just trying to hobble away. And then he goes, ah, oh, you fixed
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then he's having SpongeBob around, and SpongeBob doesn't appreciate Squidward's musical talents, I guess. So he finds that SpongeBob and Patrick harassing him is just next level annoying. So he needs to get them back together. And this ends up with them drinking loads of bubble water, whatever it is. So they end up getting really fat and then destroying Squidward's house with the bubbles. So even though Squidward split them apart, then got them back together, it just ended up going tits up for him, which he sort of deserved because he shit stirred them in the first place.
Yeah, I think I remember finding that funny at the end. I think, yeah, with his house blowing up or whatever. Yeah, maybe that's what I was thinking of before. But yeah, that was funny. Just trying to think of what else I might have found funny in the episode. I don't know, but I don't know. Yeah, yeah, I'll put it in my favourites. So yeah, I enjoyed that. Yeah, again, it's annoying. I wish I could remember more of it, but yeah, I enjoyed it. So that's the main thing.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a pretty good episode. It always made me cringe as a kid, though, seeing Squidward nearly choked to death. But there you go. Part of the story, isn't it? So the next episode is the boating school one. We see that SpongeBob, because I think they wanted to make him like a kid who goes to school, but in reality, like, you know, that's set with him being an adult. So instead of going to get a normal education, he's trying to pass his driving test to get his boating license, and he just fails. And he knows all the theory side, but he just fails when he's actually driving. And you know, Mrs. Puff's there and getting stressed, and he absolutely destroys the whole course when he's trying to pass his test, which is quite funny. But then you've got
Yeah.
Patrick on the phone saying, "Oh, you know, I'll give you a call so I can whisper all the theory, I can say all the theory stuff to you, and then you can, you know, pass the test." And I like how, you know, I like how it's a perfect disguise for him because he's got holes so they can stick the walkie-talkie in his head and then put a hat so you can't see the antenna. And then it goes so fine. It's going so perfect, so smooth. And then Mrs. Puff's like, "Oh, of course, that would be cheating." And then he's like, "Cheating?" And then he's just going ballistic, having a breakdown. And Patrick just,
Oh yeah, yeah.
I remember doing a voiceover of it, and it's just so funny. Oh man, running back to his house. He's like, "Oh," and just jumps back under his rock when he finds out it's cheating. So that was quite funny. Overall, a well above average episode. I don't really think it was sort of anything special. I guess the jokes were kind of funny, but it just sort of felt like, you know, a sort of plan that's set up to fail. And that's that, really.
Yeah, yeah, I think I probably found this episode to be like sort of okay or decent. Again, not one of my favorites, but yeah, I think there are a few moments where I found Patrick funny just for the stupidity. Because there's times where I just, you know, it's just funny. But yeah, apart from that, it's not the funniest episode, but yeah, yeah, it's typical. I
But
suppose it's
yeah,
just a typical SpongeBob behavior again, and yeah.
for sure. Now on to pizza delivery. Now, a lot of people think this is like the best episode ever or one of. I think it's pretty good, but I don't really think it's that. Like, I don't think it's goated or phenomenal. The start's quite funny when Squidward's like, when Mr. Krabs is like, "It's closing time," and then he's like, "Oh, pizza, sure, we do pizza." And then Squidward's like, "We don't do pizza, Mr. Krabs." And he goes, "Shh," and gets the pizza. And he says, "We don't deliver. We don't deliver, but you do." It's just like, what an absolute bellend this man is. But yeah, I guess he just flunks a load of mess onto Squidward and SpongeBob, and then obviously Squidward's like, "SpongeBob, back it up," and then obviously the car goes into the middle of nowhere, and then after that, it just sort of feels like it's SpongeBob being right about the survival tactics, and then Squidward being wrong over and over again, and then it just gets to the end after that happens multiple times. And I guess the jokes are okay with the hitchhiking and the rock and whatever; those jokes are all right. But then the ending's really good when He's like, "You forgot my drink. How could you forget my drink? Blah, blah, blah. You can't give me this without my drink. I ain't buying." And then Squidward goes to the door and says, "I told you, little friend, I ain't buying. This one's on the house."
Yeah.
I just love the POV shots. It's so funny
Yeah.
with how angry Squidward's face is, and he's like, "Get the whole thing in one bite."
Yeah.
But then Squidward does something good, but then they're just in time for work, which is annoying. He should have been able to go home and rest. But there you go.
I
I guess
know.
it's just a
Mr.
funny
Krabs,
joke
eh?
at the end. I guess it was funny with how much that to go through to get the pizza there. I just wish it hadn't just been Squidward getting a survival tactic wrong, SpongeBob proving that he's wrong, and that happening again and again and again. I just would have preferred if it was a bit more. I don't know if the jokes were just a bit more different, not just the same formula over and over again. But still, a very good episode. Just not goated in my opinion.
I like how, like, it served as a sort of bonding session for the two characters, where they actually sort of, I mean, you get sort of moments in other episodes where perhaps, like, I don't know, Squidward perhaps isn't as, like, I don't know, he isn't as, like, cold-hearted or whatever as you might think, or as what, but yeah, like I say, I suppose I liked seeing the relationship between them in this one and the character development. And isn't this the episode as well where Squidward gets SpongeBob to drive when really he should have driven himself because
Yeah,
SpongeBob hasn't passed, has he?
yeah.
And
When
he's
he says
saying
"back
like,
it up, back it up."
yeah, and he's saying like, oh, I haven't passed or whatever, and he's like, oh, I'll be fine. And then
Yeah,
why would Squidward think that? Like, it's just so idiotic. He should know better, you know.
true.
But again, I think the best part probably was the end, like you say as well, and that was funny. And it was a nice. I suppose it was a nice sort of resolution to that problem. And yeah, just I suppose it was just satisfying to just see Squidward actually, I think, stick up for SpongeBob as well because they sort of they're bonded
Yeah, for sure.
on that long trek. So yeah, good episode. Yeah.
Well, now on to Home Sweet Pineapple, where nematodes eat SpongeBob's house and keep shrinking it, which is it's quite a funny
Oh yeah.
sequence. How you see everything
Yeah.
shrinking. He's like, "Oh no, what's that?" And then he's trying to be like, "Gary, hurry up, we gotta get out of here," and all this jazz. It's quite fun, I guess. And obviously, you see SpongeBob basically intrude on Squidward's home, and he's sleeping in bed with him. And then he's
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Oh
Yeah.
yeah, so I'll get you some water. Yeah, I'll get you some water." And he's like, "SpongeBob!" And then he just kicks him out. And then he's trying to sleep with under Patrick's rock, but Patrick just keeps hitting him with a rock and not
Oh yeah.
realizing that it's SpongeBob. So some good entertainment there. And we get to see a proper MILF in Mrs. SquarePants, his mom. And and then and obviously his dad's like, "All right, SpongeBob, we got to get going." And then Patrick's upset, but then Squidward's going, "Da, da, 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 da," and then the pineapple just crushes him. And then
Oh
they're
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"Yes, it's back." And then he's like, "I get to live here forever." And Squidward's like, "Forever." Really funny ending sequence there.
Mhm. Oh
Yeah,
yes.
good
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah. A good episode too. Yeah, some funny stuff there, like you said. Yeah. So that's the one then where. Oh yeah, that's the one. Yeah, it's because they shrink his house, or his house gets SpongeBob's house. So then he's on about he's saying like, oh, he's got no choice but to move in with his parents. But yeah. So like you said, yeah. So he ends up well wanting to stay at Squidward's and then staying at Patrick's. And
Yeah.
well, how does it? Oh yeah, the house just grows, doesn't it? It grows
Yeah,
a
he
new
cries on the
pineapple.
seed and leaves it there. Tears on the seed.
Oh
Very
yeah,
Disney-esque,
yeah,
and then it grows really
yeah,
quick.
yeah. It's typical. Yeah, it's something you'd see in a show like SpongeBob. Yeah, that's right. Something so ridiculous, but just funny at the same time because of how mad it is. Yeah. Oh yes. So yeah, good entertaining episodes. Yeah.
But yeah, so now on to Merman Man and Barnacle Boy. I do find the first Merman Man and Barnacle Boy very funny with you know, how they're hyped up as these heroes that are humans, which I don't get how humans ended up being able to breathe underwater and then ended up being the same size as fish. But you know, I guess it's best not to question it. Yeah, it's quite funny how, you know, SpongeBob and Patrick are trying so hard to get Merman Man and Barnacle Boy out of retirement, and Merman Man's like evil, 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 and he's going ballistic, and then SpongeBob's dressing up as a woman, going help, help, please help, and Merman Man's just asleep and not doing anything. And there's some other funny bits where Barnacle Boy's like, "It's me, you old goat," and then they're going up, up and away, up, up and away, you know, on their rocking chairs. It's just funny seeing, you know, these old boomer characters potter around, and eventually they do get out of retirement because they well, fight SpongeBob and Patrick with their superpowers and to get them out of their hair, basically. So a very funny, good, actually, no, I'd say a bloody great episode. A lot of fun and very funny.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't, I don't really feel the same about it. I don't know. I didn't really enjoy it that much. I don't think. I mean, sure, it's the first episode that Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy star in, but then I don't particularly enjoy those episodes. To be fair, I don't know.
None of them at all.
Not in series one. I don't think. No,
Okay.
I don't think I've got any of them in my favourites. No. Um, yeah, I think there's just moments where like some of those characters are just a bit annoying. And yeah, I don't know. I just don't find it as interesting. Like, I don't know. I guess with the show like SpongeBob, with it being a comedy, I just prefer it when there's more like sort of humor that's up my street and like whatnot. Like I say, there's still certain episodes where that have good concepts and that I do enjoy, even if I don't laugh that much. But yeah, this is one of the weaker episodes for me personally. Probably an average one. So
Yeah. Well,
mm.
I disagree, but it is what it is. Now on to pickles. I find the absolutely thick, chunky specimen Bubble Bass to be quite funny. And I suppose him being like, "No pickles," it's kind of funny, I guess. But the stuff where SpongeBob doesn't know what to do with his life and forgets how to do everything, I find that a bit poor writing and a bit weird. But I suppose the showdowns with Bubble Bass are entertaining, so I'd say overall it's just a bit of an average episode.
Oh yeah, now that you mentioned that stuff, I remember that stuff in the episode now. Yeah, I suppose. Well, it's I suppose it's interesting just because SpongeBob thought that he'd missed the pickles, didn't he, off the Krabby Patty, when all along
They were just at Bubble
but
Bass's arse.
he was just trying to make SpongeBob look bad, and they were just well, no, they were under his tongue, weren't they? I think
No,
bottom of his
they're
tongue.
up his arse, Liam, if you remember the episode correctly.
Well, that's how you would like to remember it, yes, with your arse fetish.
Yeah, I know.
uh,
He whipped his tongue out like this, and then the pickles were under his tongue. Yeah,
that's right, yeah, and yeah, again, it was sort of slightly entertaining, but yeah, again, not the most enjoyable for me, and not one of my favorites. So probably decent at best. Yeah.
well, now on to I'd say it's just like an average episode, to be honest, because there was just a lot of farting around in the middle. But I guess the start and end were good. So I don't know, above average actually. Yeah. Now on to Horn Monitor. I know this is another one we disagree on. I think it slaps. I think it's an amazing, funny episode. I love how he, you know, he gets like the hall monitor, because everyone else has been hall monitor apart from SpongeBob in his class at boating school. So he is now the hall monitor, even though his whole speech takes up the whole day. So he can't be the hall monitor. So he just takes his duties to the streets of Bikini Bottom, where he ends up doing far more damage than good by bloody being a traffic light and running around like a madman and, you know, terrorizing people accidentally when he thinks he's helping them. And then he gets Patrick to be his deputy, and there's some funny jokes, like when they're showing the SpongeBob wanted sign to him and he keeps going, ah, over and over again. And I just think
that was funny. Yeah, that was one of the funniest moments, to be fair.
But I think it's funny how much of a job's worth SpongeBob is, and then you think, and he's running away from himself, Patrick, saying, you need to go this way, this way, this way, this way. And then SpongeBob's like, oh, shit, it's me. I'm the perpetrator. And then Mrs. Puff's like, SpongeBob, what have you been doing? And then they just arrest Mrs. Puff, which is hilarious. So she'll be some big booty jailbait for some of the ladies in there. So, yeah, in the slammer.
Yeah, yeah.
A great episode. Absolutely slaps, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's one of those where it's like probably decent. Again, I think funniest part from what I remember is probably what you mentioned was the whole thing. The police officers actually like they keep showing the photo of SpongeBob to Patrick, and he keeps doing the same reaction, and then they realize, oh, if we keep doing this, he'll keep doing that. So they just do it just for a laugh, just for their own enjoyment. Which was funny. Yeah, aside from that, it was all right. Yeah, maybe a bit with the whole like SpongeBob speech taking up loads of time and whatever. It was a bit like, you know, maybe a bit slow and a bit like, you know, wasn't really into it, but it was probably decent, I guess. Yeah. Again.
Well, fair enough. On to Jellyfish Jam. This is another one we disagree on. I feel like it's quite an overrated episode. I don't know. I just don't find it that interesting. Like, he brings a jellyfish home, has a party with him. They end up terrorizing his house and him getting annoyed. I guess the it's all right at first, but then it just gets overplayed. And I guess the animation's quite good, but I find the story quite boring, apart from when Scuba's like, I'll show you some real music. And then the jellyfish just come and sting him.
Yeah.
But then it's a cool finale. How SpongeBob's like, shit, they're all flying all over the place, and Gary's eyes slamming together creates a beat. And then I find that ending song a lot better than the. I just find the ending song where it's going da na 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 da na 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 da na 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 da 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 na 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 da na 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 na. I just find that like 10 times better than just over and over again. But yeah, I'd say overall it's slap bang average, I'd say.
I'll probably say, well, it's in my favourites, so probably say good episode personally. But yeah, it's just, I think just because of that sequence with the music as well, even though you don't like that music as much as the last piece of music. I don't know. I just have a lot of nostalgia for that personally. Just remember seeing that as a kid and just enjoying that scene. Just with them all dancing and yeah, just for the music. Yeah, like, I think that was funny as well, like you said, with Squidward trying to sort of, you know, just playing his own music, and then the jellyfish just all sting him, and then yeah, it was also cool to hear some more music at the end, like you say, and how it all got resolved with Gary. So yeah, I don't know. Just, like I say, just one I guess I was, you know, felt nostalgic about and got some enjoyment out of. So yeah, it's in my favourites.
Well, now on to Sandy's Rocket then. I just find it kind of repetitive, to be honest. Like, again, it's a unique concept, so I'm not going to say it's bad, like them going to space, then ending up crashing to Earth, and then kidnapping everyone, which is quite funny, and then they end up crashing on the moon at the end. And then SpongeBob and Patrick turn on each other before that crash on the moon at the end. But I don't know. I guess them titted around with Sandy's rocket is kind of funny, but I just found it to be a pretty average, repetitive, boring episode, to be honest. Just SpongeBob and Patrick just seem so deluded, like, oh, they made a planet look exactly like the Bikini Bottom, so they're the bad guys, and they're just trying to fool us. It just seems a bit like forced and repetitive. Average
Yeah,
episode.
I kind of agree. Yeah, I found it to be, kind of boring, really. Yeah, I think the premise, just didn't really speak to me. Yeah, I don't know what much more there is to say about it. What was the episode called again?
Sandy's rocket.
Honestly, that's how memorable it was.
Yeah,
But yeah, yeah, like I say, all I can remember really about it is, like you say, they kidnap everyone. They trap them in those like bags or whatever. um, and then isn't that where they was? Is it where? Oh yeah, and then SpongeBob and Patrick end up thinking they're is it aliens as well or something like that.
yeah.
And then the
And then
SpongeBob.
Patrick
Oh no,
shoots as
Patrick
well.
acts. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then they end up on the moon at the end. Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of actually, because they didn't they think they were in the future before? Is that what it was?
Nah, they just thought they landed on another planet.
Ah, okay, yeah. Um, oh yeah, and then they're all like, annoyed with SpongeBob at the end. But yeah, didn't really enjoy that one that much. Probably one of the weakest episodes, along with like some of the others. So I'll probably say it's average.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
now on to Squeaky Boots. Basically, SpongeBob gets these squeaky boots from Mr. Krabs that he gets for Pearl originally, and Pearl's like, "Oh, I don't want them. What the hell's your problem?" Um, so yeah, quite a tight ass, Mr. Krabs. But then he gets SpongeBob to buy the boots off of him, which is pretty sneaky. But there you go. And then it pretty much bites him in the ass because he gets really fed up and stressed over the squeaking. I mean, subjectively, this is another one that just really annoys me. Not as much as jellyfishing, but it does annoy me quite a bit, just the squeaking boots. But objectively, you know what? There's nothing criminally bad in there. There's nothing horrendous. I'd just say it's probably like just a really bog standard average episode. Like it's quite funny when Mr. Krabs is like, "Hold on, boy, you're gonna give me a heart attack," when SpongeBob keeps saying how much he'll give him for these boots. But yeah, nothing really that good in my opinion. Just really slap bang average.
Is this the one? Is this the episode where Mr. Krabs wants SpongeBob to take Pearl to that dance?
No,
Or
that's the chaperone. That's a bit later on.
oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Again, I feel like this is another one where I can only remember like little bits, like of SpongeBob in the boots, and I can't really remember loads about it. Oh yeah, isn't Mr. Krabs in bed as well, and he ends up dreaming about the boots? Like he's dreaming about money,
Oh yeah, and I think he injures himself
and
because
then
he's dreaming about the boots.
oh, that's right. He does it a few times, doesn't he? He goes to doesn't his window keep blowing open
Yeah,
or
it keeps
something? And then
opening like with the boot sound effects. I suppose that is kind of funny.
yeah. Oh yeah, and then he gets his leg stuck in one of the holes in the floor, and he does it again after.
Hmm.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. I suppose there's probably a few moments like that that were kind of funny, but other than that, yeah, it wasn't really. Yeah, again, it was just another sort of like maybe a decent time, but again, just not one I'd really go back and rewatch personally.
Hmm. Same here.
Yeah.
Now on to Nature Pants. So SpongeBob loves jellyfish and jellyfishing so much he wants to become a jellyfish, and Patrick is just next level sad about it, which is very pathetic. And well, SpongeBob is just he thinks, oh yes, I'm living in the wild now, the nature, hoorah! And then he tries to get in the jellyfish's nest, and they just end up stinging him. Then he tries to go back to his own home, and everyone's there waiting for him. And also that ends well. I guess it's nice to see all 5 characters there at the same time. The main 5, Sandy, Squidward, Mr. Krabs, SpongeBob, Patrick. But at the end, apart from that, I've found it to be very, very average. Just a bit of a boring, weird, predictable episode.
I was gonna say, you still got it on me, focused on me.
Oh shit! Sorry, my bad. I had a different window open. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Yeah. What? Sorry. What was the episode called again? I can't believe I'm asking again.
Nature Pants.
Oh, Nature Pants. Yeah. Wait. So I'm trying to think. Is that? I know you just said. Is that the one where SpongeBob is he go to live out in the wild or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why does he do that again?
He just wants to be a jellyfish. He just wants to feel free and part of nature.
Was there not a reason in the episode? Doesn't something happen? I'm not sure. I don't know. Or is it something he sees on TV in his house? I don't know.
I think it's just when he's out and about jellyfishing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Yeah, he decides to do. Yeah. Again, not one I feel particularly fond about. Yeah. So there's not really much more to say, unfortunately. It's just one of those episodes. Yeah, there's not really. I don't really have anything to. Yeah, don't really have anything more to say about it. So it's probably average again.
Fair enough. Now
Yeah.
on to a few bangers. I can see all the episodes coming up next. Opposite Day, so funny,
Oh yeah,
man.
yeah.
When Squidward's trying to sell his house and he wants SpongeBob and Patrick to not act like themselves. So he says it's just opposite day. And then basically they're all just acting completely different and miserable and different to themselves. And they're all pretending to be Squidward and all this jazz. And they're ruining the estate
Yeah.
agent's time at Squidward's house.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
Squidward. He's Squidward. Who isn't Squidward? Then Gary comes in and goes, meow. I'm out of here. But at least Squidward gets the last laugh when he's like, no. And he's like, let me show you what opposite day is. He says something weird like that. And then he just gets in like a bulldozer and he's trying to run.
Oh, that's the one. I was wondering which episode it was that ended like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he
I
finally
remember
gets
that.
his comeuppance. It's very funny, very entertaining. Tom Kenny's voice acting impersonating Squidward's brilliant.
Yeah.
Very,
Definitely.
very funny. Amazing episode.
Yeah, no, yeah, one of the better episodes. Yeah, just trying to think whether there's anything else funny about it. I definitely did, it was one of those episodes I laughed at more. I think. Yeah, I think it was just funny. Yeah, when SpongeBob was just impersonating Squidward as well and just making fun of him. And I guess Patrick as well. And yeah, so yeah, I wish I could think of more stuff to say about it, but it was one of my favorites again, and one I would, one I'd be happy to rewatch.
Fair dues. Now on to culture shock. When Mr. Krabs is like bloody hell running low on money. Squidward put on a talent show, hurrah! And Squidward's trying to get his artistic stuff out there and have a laugh and all this jazz. But then, he says, "Oh, SpongeBob, well, you can be the closing act. You can mop up afterwards." But then everyone's cheering for SpongeBob and no one's cheering for Squidward's dancing. It's so funny how over the top it gets. They'll put SpongeBob's hand out there, and then they'll go, "Yeah!" Then he'll put Squidward put his hand, and there'll be nothing. Then SpongeBob will be mopping up, and they'll go, "Yeah!" And then Squidward even Squidward tries mopping up, and there's no cheering. And it's just funny to see how successful the show is, even though Squidward flops it and SpongeBob just gets a load of cheers just by cleaning up. So it's nice that it worked out nicely for SpongeBob. Great episode. I find it quite entertaining. Some unique animations when Squidward's dancing, how they stretch his body to all
Oh yeah,
sorts
yeah.
of lengths with the animation. It's just quite entertaining.
It's kind of funny, like that's what Squidward decides to do. Like you kind of wouldn't expect that from Squidward, but I don't know. You must think that's you know art that people appreciate, but no.
Yeah.
Like I said to you before, I thought it was funny when Pearl's just
Oh shit! Yeah. Give me a
jumping on the stage and
K.
everyone goes flying because she's so
Oh!
big.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny.
Give me an O. Ah! Give me a U. Ah! Yeah.
Yeah,
Krusty Krab. Ah!
yeah,
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
yeah. Like you
Uh,
said as well, like with the SpongeBob and Squidward thing and the applause and the silence, and it's one of those like uh, what's the word or the phrase? I don't know. It's like one of those like sort of comedic elements that they use in a few other episodes in the series too. Like not it's like they sort of do it in the same way. Of course, it's not like with the applause, but it's uh like there's an instance I think like in Rock Bottom and a few others, but uh yeah, it's like I said, that's quite funny, like you said. And when they just keep doing it and take it to like you know um I suppose just the amount of times they keep doing it, it's just mad, but it's just, it makes it all the more hilarious and, yeah, just a, um, just an entertaining, fun time.
Fair enough. Um, so now on to F is for friends who do stuff together. U is for you and me. N is for anywhere, anytime, and all down here in the deep blue sea. Classic tune.
Yeah,
Um,
another memorable song, yeah.
yeah. So SpongeBob gets Plankton. Well, Karen sort of says to Plankton, "I've got a plan for you. How about you just do what SpongeBob does? Then he'll give you the formula. Try and become friends with him." At one point, Plankton is enjoying being friends with him, and they have some good laughs and some good times. And it's cool how SpongeBob is trying to convince him, like, like what does he say? What was it? Plankton sang his own version of it. It's like F is for something, the U is for
Uh,
uranium, bombs,
yeah, it was,
N is for
F is
nowhere, or
for
something weird. He sang his own version of it, which was quite
which
funny.
is funny. I'm trying to remember actually what the F was. I don't know. I wish I could remember. But yeah,
Oh,
whenever
F is for
Plank
fire.
oh, yeah, I thought it might have been that, yeah. Yeah, whenever Plankton was, like, putting his own twist on that
Here
and,
we
like,
go. Here we
just
go. Here we go.
starting
He
about
says,
destroying everything. It's
he
hilarious.
says, F is for fire, burns down the whole town. U is for uranium, bombs. N is for no survivors when you're
Oh, yeah,
plankton.
no
Oh, no.
survivor.
That's not what fun is all about.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Very funny.
Oh god, yeah, that was funny, yeah.
And Bubble Bass comes back to sit on Plankton and grind on him a bit.
Oh,
Once
yeah,
SpongeBob gets him
makes
to
his,
get off of him.
triumphant return in a cameo.
I mean, the writers really have some peculiar fetishes with Bubble Bass. It would have been a
Mm.
lot better if Mrs. Puff or Sandy Cheeks was sitting on him, but there you go.
I suppose it's just a bit of a trend for Plankton to just be crushed all the time as well
Yeah,
in,
true.
like,
Yeah,
pretty much all the episodes he's in. So
yeah.
that's funny. Um, and then,
And Mr. Krabs susses him out, doesn't he? He's like, reach into his back pocket, and then other people are reaching to someone else's pocket in the cinema.
oh, yeah, and take
And
yeah,
then,
yeah.
and then he's like, "Well, yeah, I was just mugging you off." Then he just takes the curry paddy and runs off, but then hits into a concrete wall. So that was quite
Yeah.
funny. Amazing episode, great fun.
No, yeah, yeah, it was a good episode. Yeah, like I say, again, I think again, it just, you know, those episodes with, like, SpongeBob and Plankton and, like, their relationship and then you know, there's points where like it appears as if like, oh, they're actually like becoming friends, and it's all like, Plankton's just um leading SpongeBob on as always, um and then I don't know, I lost my train of thought, but yeah. Um yeah, it's almost like with the way Plankton acts at points, like when they start singing that song together, it's almost like he's had a change of heart, and it's like, but
Yeah, it's kind of wholesome.
yeah, but it's too good to be true, and it doesn't last, of course. So yeah, but yeah, it was it was a stronger episode, yeah, and funny, like I say, with Plankton and just him, just the fact that he's just so intent on just destruction, and like I say, how he put his spin on the fun song. So yeah,
Yeah,
just just an entertaining villain. Yeah.
for sure.
Mm.
Now on to Muscle Bob Butt Pants. Yeah, I guess SpongeBob's pissed off that he isn't really that strong at all. He tries to work out with Sandy, but it completely fails. So then he gets anchor arms, which are
Oh yeah,
basically
yeah.
advertised by some big, strong shark. Well, some shark who pretends to be big and strong, and he's like, "I used to look like a wimp. Look at me now," and it's all just fake muscles. And SpongeBob, when he gets these anchor arms, he's just walking around on his hands and being like, "Oh, I used to look like that guy." And he's like, "Who, me?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then he can't even pick up a glass. And then in the end, I love the animations with his muscles, the fake blown up muscles. There's some great animations. And his facial reactions when he's trying to lift things. But the funniest is when the arms just go and just completely deflate. That is just pure banter. Good episode. And it's for anywhere and anytime at all down here in the deep blue sea. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, he's gone. Yes, 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 yes. Mew. Yes, yes. Anyway, I guess I'll just continue it for now then. And Squidward, the unfriendly ghost, SpongeBob and Patrick think that they've accidentally killed Squidward, but it's just a bloody mannequin of him. Which is, yeah, not the actual Squidward. And then Squidward's like, "What the hell's going on?" He's like, "Oh, he's a ghost," because I think he's got like a dressing gown on, and he's got like a towel wrapped on his bald head, which is a bit weird. There's no hair to dry, but there you go. I guess he wants to dry his bald head. So yeah, it's quite funny. SpongeBob and Patrick keep serving to his every whim because they think that they killed him, but then they're like, "Look, we need to let Squidward's ghost rest," so they try and get him put in a coffin, and they try and get a funeral for him, and then oh shit, Liam's back. Hey, what's good?
Sorry about that. Wi-Fi's playing up again. It's been doing that a bit recently, which is annoying.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you think of the episodes then, Liam? Those two, the Muscle Bob Buff Pants.
Oh, that one was it was kind of decent. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that he ends up. Sandy enters him into that competition, doesn't she? Whoa. You can do that?
Well, what I did, I made a custom layout. I didn't
Oh,
realize I
okay.
did it on the last podcast with George, but I didn't know how to actually
Wow.
implement it. But now I know that. Hold on, does it
Oh.
move us around? Oh, shit, it's not moving us around. Never mind. But yeah,
Oh.
what do you think of that custom layout?
Yeah, that was unexpected. Yeah. Funny, but yeah. It's kind of unfortunate that you can't like actually move us around like you would be able to do in like OBS, but
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, but there you go, I guess.
mm, yeah. But like I was saying, yeah, Sandy she ends up entering SpongeBob into the competition when he doesn't wanted to, but he can never like even though it's fake muscles, the fake muscles don't really give him any more strength, so he's always getting like things that guy, he's always getting the fake muscles pinned underneath things. So
He's just so
uh,
he's just so mad.
yeah, it is. I know. It's just yep. Mini me has taken over. As what about Mini me has taken over. So yeah, I mean, it's God mad that you can even do this in StreamYard now. But I mean, fair enough that you can do custom layouts. So yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm small again. It'd be even funnier if like it affected the pitch of your voice, but no, you have to do that yourself. So yeah, nope, small, big, small. So,
It'd be so funny though if you were saying, "This is the gaming channel. Hello."
yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, like I say, it's one of those episodes where it's kind of like I don't know, kind of like average, decent, I guess. Not particularly funny, uh, but you know, it was a decent concept. So it's probably like between average and decent then, I suppose.
Fair enough. I did mention a bit of Squidward and the Unfriendly Ghost, but yeah, I think that's an
Oh,
amazing
have you already
episode.
talked about that one? I didn't know.
Yeah, when you were lagged out, I've talked about it a bit. But if you just want to say your
Oh.
bits and bobs, I think it's just a phenomenal, amazing episode. Definitely up there as one of the
Yeah,
best.
it's in my like I say, it's probably in my top 3. Yeah, it's funny. And just the fact that he makes that sculpture of himself, and they think he's and then the sculpture, they mess with the sculpture, don't they? And it ends up, just
Oh yeah, and
collapsing to the floor.
we get that iconic meme because of the Squidward sculpture having ass imprints, and it says, "Are you still watching this Netflix show?" And it just has somebody's son, and it's just the ass imprints on Squidward's.
Oh yeah,
Getting crushed by some thick baddie.
yeah, yeah. And then Squidward, he realizes that they think he's that like he's like gone now. He's gone into mush or whatever. So yeah, he comes out of the shower and looking like a ghost, I suppose, looking sort of kind of looking pale or whatever, and then realizes, oh, I can take advantage of this and act like a ghost and scare them and just make them my slaves, essentially. And yeah, there were some other funny bits. I just wish I could remember them again. I don't know. It was a great episode. And again, it just proves that like these episodes with SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward are just some of the funniest. Especially like when they just sort of take place in the same location as well. Yeah, just a great episode. Definitely worth a rewatch.
Yeah. Now on to Employee of the Month. Oh wait, no, the chaperone. I mean, yeah, it's just Pearl. He's upset that she can't have a prom date. I suppose it's quite funny how she goes ballistic and is like, "Ah!" And she's like, "Oh, I can't take him, Daddy. I can't take SpongeBob." But then it ends up being a dummy, which I always got confused about. Was how long was the dummy at the prom with Pearl? I guess it was
Yeah.
okay. It was another average one in my opinion. I found the meat people quite funny. The meat, the Billy Shrimpfin, whatever his name is, who she wanted to take to the prom originally, and they're just all a bunch of meat fish. So average one. A bit of a confusing ending. I'm not sure when the dummy was doing the date and whatever, or if the dummy was just at the end. I don't know. Average episode.
Yeah, I'd probably say average as well. Yeah, like you say, with the whole dummy thing, that was a bit. I suppose it could be a bit confusing. I mean, I'd like to assume that the dummy was only there like
At the
in those
end,
particular scenes, like and then when SpongeBob appears, so you'd think, oh, his dummy wasn't there in at the actual prom or whatever at the dance, but who knows? There might have been a few little funny bits here and there with him and Pearl, perhaps, but of course, SpongeBob he just messes it up, doesn't he? But
Yeah,
um,
shooting the punch out of his nose, out of his nostril.
oh yeah. Probably, I don't know, maybe a decent episode at best. But yeah, not a favorite of mine. So
Well,
yeah.
now on to employee of the month. I don't know, just another average one for me. I just the problem is with it is that I would have preferred if they'd taken the approach of sort of Squidward doesn't care about it, but by him doing a normal job, he does get the employee of the month rather than SpongeBob being a dick to Squidward. Then they go on this mental competition against each other, and it's just like so daft and petty. But you mentioned it to me in private. The ending is quite funny when Mr. Krabs is like, "Oh, two eager employees coming to work," and then they're just running at the camera. Like, wait, lads,
Yeah.
wait! Ah! And he's
Yeah.
like, "Clean dishes, Mr. Krabs, clean dishes," and he's like, "Clean tables," and then they're just flipping paddies as quick as possible. Then the restaurant explodes. That bit's quite funny.
Oh, again, like the 10th time the Krusty Krab explodes or gets completely obliterated.
Yeah, that bit was
Yeah.
cool. But apart from that, I'd say a very slap bang standard episode. I guess the bit where Mr. Krabs is like, "Watch out for Squidward this year, lad. He could be doing better than you," to try and motivate SpongeBob, and all he's doing is like filing his tentacle.
Yeah, I think that's just what I liked about the episode. I don't know, and what made it one of my favorites. Just
Mm.
I don't know. I just think just the rivalry between the two. Even though, like I say, it is weird how it comes about. Because SpongeBob's being employee of the month all of those times. But but it's funny. I just think it's funny too, though. Just the fact that they just have that rivalry and how it happens at the end, and the different obstacles that they're somehow put in each other's way. And then, like you say, with Mr. Krabs and seeing them both just running full speed towards the Krusty Krab, and then just being, like I say, just absolutely going mad, just trying to impress Mr. Krabs and get employee of the month, and then it just ends up, like I say, just destroying the Krusty Krab again, which I thought was just
Yeah,
found funny. So I guess that's what made the episode entertaining for me, and one of uh, the ones I like more, subjectively.
fair enough. Now on to Scaredy Pants, the first, holiday special, the first
Oh yeah, like
celebration
Halloween. Yeah.
special.
Mm.
It's just basically SpongeBob being a scaredy pants, and I found it funny when Squidward dressed up as a Dutchman, and he's like, "I've come for your pickle," and he goes, "Oh!" So yeah, it's quite cool. Um, it's just a fun little episode where SpongeBob's trying to be scary, and no one finds him scary. And when he's dressed as a ghost, like in a ghost shape, no one finds him scary. But then the Flying Dutchman takes his ghost um, cover off, and then he's like, "Whoa!" and flies away, and everyone's just looking at him terrified and running off. And to be honest, when I was a kid and I saw that, that was quite scary. Him just with a brain and eyes and a mouth. I thought, bloody hell, that does look
Mm.
pretty creepy for a kid show. But it's the Halloween special. It was quite good, quite funny. All the unique Halloween costume designs that the characters had. Halloween party at the Krusty Krab, a lot of fun.
Yeah, for me, it's not one of my favorites, but it was kind of decent. Yeah, I suppose it's the Flying Dutchman's first episode, isn't it? I think.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, it was all right. Yeah, of course, it's the first Halloween episode, and of course, they've done it pretty early on, like in series one, and um, yeah, I'd say it's okay. I'd say like maybe average or decent, but not one I'm particularly that fussed about. So, yeah, little Liam, yes. Oh god. Yeah, that's gonna make for a lot of entertaining, I think, segments or parts of the podcast, definitely with other guests and George. So, yeah, uh, that is, especially if they don't know about the future and it just happens all of a sudden. Oh, good. What the hell is that word? What have you changed that to? What does that mean?
Oh,
What does that mean?
you don't know what pecker means?
I don't know. I don't know if I've heard of it.
Oh, for God's sake. Oh. Have you got a pecker, Liam?
No.
Are you sure?
Who knows?
It
Sounds
just
like it's
means
a bit of
it just means you've
a.
got a long neck, that's all. So,
Oh, okay.
have you got a
I'm.
pecker?
I mean, yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
So you'd say you've got a pecker then?
if that's what it means. But I'm starting to have my doubts.
No.
Oh.
Uh,
Yeah,
have
it's
you
just
got
with the
a
way you're
pecker?
like,
Have you got a
yeah,
pecker,
you
Lee?
keep asking like, oh, as if like.
Have you got a pecker,
So,
Liam? I guess so.
oh god.
Anyway, where were we? I was a
Yeah.
teenage Gary. SpongeBob just leaves Squidward with Gary, and he's like, "I'll have 2 days of relaxing." Then he leaves Gary and basically nearly kills him because he doesn't feed him any food. And then SpongeBob gets back, he's like, "No, he's nearly dead." And I guess I like how Squidward's trying to care and be bothered, and he's there because he realised he's really screwed up by not being that bothered about Gary. But yeah, then SpongeBob gets injected with Gary's vaccine, and then Squidward accidentally gets injected. Then they're all snails, and then that's the end. It's just kind of a bit of a nothing episode, really. I'd say below average. It freaked me out as a kid seeing SpongeBob turn into a snail, but yeah, a bit of a nothing episode, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Again. Yeah. Yeah. I guess like one of those sort of odd episodes. Yeah. Again. And the way that SpongeBob just turns into a snail. Um. Um. Oh yeah, isn't that because that's because SpongeBob wants Squidward to look after Gary, doesn't he? And then he doesn't feed him.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
all he needs in the end is a bit of water.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like, oh, yeah. Um, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, again, I think it was like an okay episode, but yeah, it's just again not not one I'd really go back to. So
Fair enough. SB129, best episode of the season. Granted, it's not the funniest, and it's just Squidward as the main character, but I love the time travel aspect. I love how he just wants to get away from SpongeBob and Patrick's madness. But then while he's time traveling and going across the cosmos and the time, he realizes, damn, I do prefer my old life. I want everything to just go back to the way it was. I hate being stuck in the future and all that crap. But it does end with the hilarious line when he's like, "Who even invented jellyfishing anyway? You did." That was really good bands. But I just feel like the story and a lot of the jokes are quite good overall. And the future's creative out, everything's chrome, and you've got a bloody load of robotic SpongeBobs and future. That's such an iconic meme. I just think it slaps, and it's one of the best episodes of the whole show, to be honest with you. Amazing.
yeah, I
Goated.
have to admit when I watched that episode, I thought when he started doing that, I thought that was a bit like sort of like random and out of place. Like I know it's like a bit like a meme and all that, but but I guess when I was thinking about it, I was thinking, oh, he's just doing it because he's sort of just losing it. I don't know. He's kind of like just like I don't know. But then even thinking about it now, I'm thinking, why did he just do that randomly? I feel like that's a bit odd for Squidward, but
I think, as you
I don't know.
mentioned before, it's just him going ballistic and
Yeah, I don't
losing the
know. I just
plot.
think
I mean,
otherwise, I think
imagine if you went to the future and there was like 3 Georges going, love the anime. You know, you'd be a bit like confused, wouldn't you?
well, I probably would make me go mad. Yeah.
Future! New! You know, it wouldn't be very good, would it?
No, no. But yeah, no, it's not. It's a future I would rather not think about. But yeah, yeah, I guess that's what it is, isn't it? Yeah, but it was an entertaining episode. Like I said, I liked the premise, and just the fact that he goes, it's just time traveling. Ends up in the future at first, doesn't he? In that Chrome, uh, that one where it's all like everything's turned to chrome, and then you get that flower, or is it that whatever it is grows, and then the person sprays it
It's
chrome.
Chrome, yeah.
Which is a bit like, oh, but yeah, and then like you said, there's all those SpongeBob's,
There's a
and then he ends up
caveman.
going, yeah, he ends up going all the way back into the past instead, with SpongeBob and Patrick, um, and then yeah, and then and then after he ends up in that like that place where there's like there's nothing, and then it's all echoes and um, yeah, like I say, it's funny how he keeps running and you keep seeing him running in a sort of loop, and yeah, I suppose it's a good payoff at the end. Like you say, Squidward ends up inventing jellyfishing. So yeah, it
Definitely.
was an entertaining episode. Like you said, not one of the funniest. I didn't really laugh much, but I liked how Squidward was the main character, and you know, I liked the story. So
Yeah, man.
definitely, yeah, probably one of the best episodes. Yeah, probably like in top 5 or whatever. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Now on to Karate Choppers. The first sequence was cool with SpongeBob and Sandy fighting. Then sort of after that, Mr. Krabs just sort of says, "What the hell were you doing? You shouldn't be karate chopping in my restaurant. You SpongeBob, you're fired!" And then SpongeBob's head just curls up and then he cries and runs off. But then he's karate chopping at the park because they're trying not karate chop anymore. And then all the karate chopping makes for some good Krabby Patties. They cut up slices of cheese and onions and all that jazz, and Krabby Patties and patties and all that jazz. And I like the ending where you've got a new design for the inside of the Krusty Krab for that one scene. And I guess it's kind of funny when they're saying, "I love karate, I love money, eh?" And Scrub was like,
that was funny. Yeah, yeah,
I hate all of you." That wasn't
yeah,
too
yeah,
bad. But
yeah. That was one of the
overall,
funnier parts. Yeah,
I'd just say it's quite average.
yeah, probably. Yeah, probably agree. Yeah, not. Um, yeah, probably say the same. But yeah, just a few little uh, funny moments here and there, like with that with Mr. Krabs and um, yeah, like you said, it's different to just see that like they've set up that sort of counter in the middle of the Krusty Krab as well, which you don't see otherwise. Where they're sort of like just karate chopping the Krabby Patties together or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So again, it was an okay episode, I suppose. But again, it's just unfortunately one of the numerous amount of episodes in the series that I don't particularly, I'm not particularly bothered about. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, now on to Sleepy Time. SpongeBob enters loads of people's dreams, and they're all quite fun. I think Patrick's is probably the funniest. Now it's just all such a barren blank dream, and it's just him riding
Oh
a
yeah, just
arcade machine.
oh
An
yeah, it's like
arcade
is it like
board.
a unicorn or a pony or something? Yeah.
Yeah, and then he
Mm.
loses his quarter, so then he's just stuck there and he's not doing
It's
anything.
just doing nothing
Yeah,
for a few
literally.
seconds. Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, he goes into Sandy's dream, which is a stunt dream. Squidward's, which is like a clarinet dream, and he's playing in front of the King of England or whatever. And then who
Mm.
else? What other dreams are there? Plankton's a giant, and SpongeBob manages to ruin that dream for him. Mr. Krabs, it's a money dream where they've got to capture a wallet at the high sea, seven seas.
Oh yeah.
Um, but then they all end up going going to SpongeBob's house, like their beings end up flying around SpongeBob and saying, "Get out of our dreams!"
Oh
And
yeah.
then
Yeah.
but then actually go to his house and say, "Stay out of our dreams." They're all having a go at him. So it's quite nice to see all the characters together again. So yeah, great episode. Really enjoy it.
Uh, yeah. It's not one of my favorites, but it's not bad. Like it's not one of my least favorites though. Like it's yeah. Like I said, there's bits that are kind of that are kind of interesting to see, like Gary's dream as well. Like
Oh yeah,
how he's
when he
just
can
like it's a
talk.
massive library, and he's just like this. Well, it's basically he's like uh, Gary himself is basically the head, but it's just this whole, you know, of course that's his whole body or whatever in the show, and he just speaks like with this. Is it like a British accent and like
Yeah,
he's just using all this like advanced vocabulary and whatever. He's talking about all these old novels and whatever. Um, uh, yeah, like you say, it's kind of funny how like with Patrick in that dream, he's literally because he loses the quarter, it's literally just a few seconds of him doing nothing,
Mhm.
which is funny to think about. Yeah, this Mr. Krabs one is all right, and Plankton just destroying everything, which is typical. But then, of course, SpongeBob's got to mess everything up again because that's what he likes to do. He just can't help himself. Yeah, so again, it's like somewhat entertaining episode, I guess, but um, yeah. I mean, maybe eventually I'd go back to it to see if my opinion changed, but it's maybe like a decent episode really for me.
Fair enough. Now on to Suds. So this is when SpongeBob gets ill and he catches the Suds, and we see how it looks for a sponge to get ill. He gets more grey and he blows up quite a bit. Well, no, he doesn't blow up at first. He blows up when Patrick keeps sticking corks in his holes. And he keeps not wanting to go to the doctor, but eventually, Sandy says, "Look, you got to go to the doctor. This is ridiculous. Everything that's happening." There's a fun little chase scene where they're trying to not get SpongeBob to go to the doctors. Then he goes there, and the treatment is basically Tom Kenny using SpongeBob to wash himself, which is quite gross, but I guess it makes a sponge feel better. And then Patrick gets the same treatment, but he's like, "Oh!" and he's not enjoying it very much.
Oh, so that man in the shadow was actually Tom Kenny, the voice actor.
Yeah. Oh, well, I forgot to
Oh, okay.
mention. I forgot to mention. Sorry, Patrick. I think he gets used to scrub the toilet, not to wash someone's body.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's
And
because
he's
well,
like,
that makes sense. Like,
"Oh!"
yeah, his face is
Yeah.
worse because he deserves it for what did in the episode.
Yeah, pretending
Because
to
he
be a
was just
doctor, bloody hopeless.
yeah, he was just being annoying. Yeah, and just even though Sandy's like he needs to go to the hospital or whatever, and Patrick's like no, no, this and that, and he likes to role play. I think Patrick does, and
Yeah.
yeah, so
Mm.
yeah, so that was a bit like annoying of Patrick, but yeah, so well, but yeah, again, it was like one of those all right episodes, I suppose. Yeah, so yeah, uh, yeah, that's that really for that one.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Oh damn! I can't make us. Whoa.
What
Is
are you
it?
trying to do?
I was trying to make us see how big I can make us, but it won't. Hold on, hold on. Look at this. Update layout. This is pretty
Okay.
cool. But no, I'll probably stick to the small layout. But yeah, after that episode is Valentine's Day. I don't really enjoy it, to be honest. I mean, it's cool how Valentine's Day and the paper both released on the day that I was born, which is pretty cool. But again, if you're born on bloody Valentine's Day, of course, there's going to be specials and shows released on that day. And the paper was a pretty good episode, but Valentine's Day was rubbish. Well, not rubbish, but below average. I don't want to say criminally bad, but Patrick, he just acts like such an immature bellend just over SpongeBob's little Valentine's Day gift of a handshake when he had something better in line for him. He just acts like a complete mental bloody, just wild person. Just bloody,
Yeah, yeah.
it's just so mature and pathetic. He's just such a selfish, immature git. He just gets on my nerves in that episode, to be honest with you. Very annoying.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, that was crazy behavior from him. Yeah, just how it happens. Oh wow, even smaller.
Oh.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh, oh gosh, madness. Ah, you.
Well, that was fun. Anyway, yeah, he just acts like an immature twat. Below average episode, I'd say.
Yeah, probably agree. Yeah, maybe average at best. Yeah, I mean, even though, like I say, considering there's been two specials in this series, like Halloween and Valentine's Day, that I didn't particularly enjoy either all that much. And I suppose it's interesting that like they didn't end up doing a Christmas one or a like an Easter one maybe for this series, but they do end up doing them in later series. So yeah.
Yeah, fair comment there, bro. Now on to the paper. Basically, Scribble throws away a bit of bubblegum paper, and SpongeBob's like, "Man, yes, a piece of paper, hoorah, brilliant!" And he just goes mad with the paper. He bloody, uses it to act like Tarzan. He uses it to play music. What the hell else does he do with it? I think he chews it and creates origami. Yeah, he just does loads with it. And then Squidward ends up saying, "Oh, please give it me back." And he specifically told SpongeBob before, "No matter what I say, do not give it me back." And then, but obviously, it changes because he really wants that piece of paper. He gives away his home and everything, every single item until he's got nothing left at all, even his clothes. So he's running around naked. And then he finally realizes it's not the paper. That's what SpongeBob did with the paper that counted. Good episode, quite entertaining. Another funny ending with Squidward. Yeah, good episode.
That was mad how, yeah, Squidward, he was so intent on he was just so intent on having that piece of paper, wasn't he? That he just gave everything away, all of
Yeah,
his belongings away.
yeah.
Was it just because he was getting so irritated by SpongeBob and what he was doing with it? Was that all it was? Or
But I think it's because he wanted to do what SpongeBob was doing with the piece of paper or the wrapping paper.
yeah, it's just crazy how he went to those lengths. So it's kind of like,
He
is that
just seemed a
really
bit
in the
out of
character?
character.
But
Yeah, he just
yeah,
seemed a bit out of character, even though it was quite funny.
yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it's probably like a decent episode, I suppose. Yeah. Again, not my favorite, but that's unfortunately the case really with the rest of these episodes.
Yeah. Now on to R. SpongeBob and Patrick are playing a ball game at the Krusty Krab. Mr. Krabs gets involved, and then instead of making money, this is really out of character for Mr. Krabs, but instead of running the business, he's like, "We're closed, get out of here!" And then they're just playing this shitty pirate board game for ages. I guess it might
Yeah.
remind him of his Navy days, but it seems
Yeah.
very out of character. They're playing it till all
Mm.
the way till night time. Then SpongeBob goes home, and then Mr. Krabs is at his door going, "How about another game? Come on, SpongeBob, let's roll the dice." And it's like, "Come on, Mr. Krabs." And eventually he goes, "Mr. Krabs, I want to go to bed." And then in the end, Mr. Krabs creates a real pirate crew, and SpongeBob's like, "I'm Peggy, the peg leg pirate." Ah, and then he's like, "I'm no eye so and so." Patrick is. Then he falls on SpongeBob because he has two eye patches on. And he's like, "You need to be proper pirates." And Mr. Krabs is just a bit of a dickhead after that. He's just a bit of a horrible captain and mean to them. He's like, "You can't look at the map, otherwise you're a betrayer." But then in the end, the Flying Dutchman comes in again, which is pretty cool. Then he gives SpongeBob and Patrick a bit of gold because they found the treasure, and then gives Mr. Krabs a fake toy treasure chest. So overall, well above average episode. I do enjoy watching it, to be honest with you.
Yes. Kind of. I don't know. Probably decent. Yeah, I think we've lost. I was gonna say, I think we thought we'd lost you then, but yeah, kind of maybe decent or yeah, yeah. Like you said, it's kind of out of character, I guess. For oh god, here we go. He's getting carried away again with this new tool. But yeah, new concept. What am I about new concept? Yeah, weird how he's a bit out of character, but with how he's gets obsessed with the board game, but I suppose rather than running the Krusty Krab but yeah, I suppose they're trying to make it into sort of real life board game, and then I suppose it's you know weird that the actual map is literally just the board game itself, I think, but then like the actual the X is actually right outside where they are, where the map is. Oh yeah, and then the Flying Dutchman pops up again, doesn't he? And I think he gives SpongeBob and Patrick a little bit of treasure, and then just gives Mr. Krabs the like the toy mini treasure chest from the game, I think, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Which I guess
exactly
is
that. Yeah.
what he deserves. Yeah. So yeah, it's probably like a decent episode at best, to be honest. Yeah.
Fair comment. Now on to Rock Bottom. Yeah, slaps. It's quite funny. I love the bit at the start when he's getting on the bus and the bus driver's like, SpongeBob's like, "Oh, I haven't got the correct change. Patrick, have you got the change?" He's like, "No," and the balloon keeps whacking the bus driver, and he's like, "You can come on for free." What? Oof! Take a seat. That was quite funny. And then they go down to rock bottom, and they're like, "What's going on?" And then the bus picks Patrick up, and he's like, "SpongeBob, wait!" And then the bus drives off, and he can't get out of rock bottom. And there's some cool, interesting, creepy imagery down there. Some creepy fish. It's quite funny how he keeps, going to the snap machine, and the bus keeps coming and leaving. It's funny how everyone just goes when they speak. That's quite, although it's a bit of a silly basic joke. It's quite funny how consistent they are with it. And SpongeBob does well to just carry an episode all by himself. So fair play to the writers for writing a character to be able to carry a whole episode on his own. Yeah, it's just an amazing fun one. I like the end how he escapes with the Glove World balloon, which is where he was originally, and then he's like, "Thank you, you're welcome." So that was really cool. Yeah, amazing episode.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, it's not one of my favorites. Again, I don't know. I just find it, not all that entertaining. It's I guess it kind of has its moments, but um, I guess it's kind of funny, like I was on about before. Like it's this sort of comedic element where I think SpongeBob's like that was kind of funny. Like when he's when he's at the vending machine and he's touching the chocolate bar, and it's like sort of like acting as like a as like the accelerator pedal for the
Yeah.
bus, and then makes the bus like sort of rev, and then when he's moving his hand back, the bus is like moving back, and then when he's moving it forward, the bus is like moving. So that was funny. Other than that, though, I feel like it feels like not a whole lot happens in the episode, but I guess he's stuck down in rock bottom, isn't he? So he's like, but yeah. Other than that, I don't know. I just didn't really do much for me. I don't know. Just just didn't really find it that funny otherwise, and whatnot. So it's probably like,
Well, I think a lot of the fan
average
base
episode.
would disagree with your takes, but on some of the episodes, but each their own in it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I just didn't enjoy that one so much. But I guess everyone has a different sense of humor as well, and so
True. Now on to Texas. So we get to learn a bit about Sandy's past. She's actually from Texas. And yeah, there's not really that much that happens apart from her being sad. But then when they set up this surprise party to remind her of Texas, basically they have to wind her up to get her to come and not go on the bus. And there's a lot of good high intensity when she's running after SpongeBob and Patrick. And it's another funny section where she lassos Patrick with a rope and he explodes after she lassos him.
Oh yeah.
And then obviously she sees that everyone went through the trouble to give her a big Texas surprise. What the hell?
I think it's the spring on your.
You don't reckon it's going to really fling off?
No. It can happen, I guess. So.
Well,
no.
Well, it shouldn't fling off anyway. I can't let that bloody dictate my life. No.
And that's how James died.
Yeah. Well, you just be there going. You just have no emotion. You just go.
Now I'll be like,
oh wow!
Yeah. You get what you deserve after all these years.
I'm in charge of the podcast. You, ha ha!
Yes. I am the Senate.
Pretty much.
I am ALP podcast.
Bloody hell! There you go. So Liam was just using telekinesis to make the spring fling off.
Yeah.
Anyway, what the hell? Oh yeah, Texas. There was a good tense chase scene. It was funny how they didn't get the Texas things correct. They had their own weird version of it, which makes sense because they're like underwater fish. So of course they're not going to understand the Texas culture. Well above average episode. I enjoyed it.
No, again, for me personally, again, this is not really an episode. Yeah, it's not really much of a memorable episode again for me. Probably one of the best parts was, like you said, I think when Sandy's chasing after SpongeBob and Patrick, and then Patrick, he gets caught and he blows up, and it's just SpongeBob, and that makes for a bit of an entertaining sequence. But otherwise, I just wasn't really that interested in the story and the premise personally. So just a bit of an average one.
Yeah. Well, now on to Walking Small. So this is a bit similar to the fun episode, except Plankton's trying to get SpongeBob to be evil this time. I guess people sort of take advantage of SpongeBob's kindness, like that bloke sitting on him, and he goes coochie coochie coo to the bloke's arse, which is a bit strange. Then there's some big tall bloke who says, "Can I have that ice cream?" And Plankton's like, "Don't let him have your ice cream." And then Plankton jumps into SpongeBob's mouth and starts saying nasty things to the lanky bloke. And he gets SpongeBob to start being evil and steal people's sausages and wave a blanket of sand to piss people off and get people to leave. But it wasn't to get SpongeBob to stand up for himself. It was just to get Plankton room to build some bloody, I don't know. Oh, yeah, build the mega bucket. That was it. And then at the end, they all come running back because SpongeBob reverses the bad things he does. And then Plankton gets stepped on again. And he goes, "Ooh!" Well, when he's getting stepped on at one point.
That bit.
That was a bit
like,
That's a bit of a
Yeah.
funny thing for the writers to add. I wonder where they stepped on him to make him make that noise, but there you go.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, above average episode.
Yeah, I think for some reason I was thinking that some like the stuff on the beach was happened in the fun episode, but no, it didn't because there was this one as well.
Yeah,
I mean, SpongeBob and Plankton again, but no, I just didn't. I just don't feel like this one. You know, it didn't quite have personally. I think what Plankton and Fun had. Uh, yeah. Again, it's like kind of interesting having the two together again, and you know, and then SpongeBob is actually kind of like becoming. He's sort of becoming evil as a result of Plankton, and Plankton's like manipulation's kind of working, but yeah, I don't know. It's just another episode where yeah, I just wasn't having like as good of a time maybe as a lot of the others earlier on in the series. Just seemed to happen for these remaining uh few episodes in the series, unfortunately. But yeah, so yep.
Sorry, I didn't realise my mic was muted. Next step, fair enough. For next episode, Falls in April. SpongeBob keeps sticking around with April Fool's. Squidward gets annoyed. He plays a nasty prank on him. And I guess you want to see Squidward apologise, but then at the end, everyone's at SpongeBob's house watching Squidward say a bunch of nice, embarrassing things to SpongeBob. So I suppose it's pretty bog standard, really. I liked all the pranking stuff, but I thought after he pranked him and SpongeBob was moping and doping, it was a bit boring. So I'd say another above average one.
Oh yeah, like yeah. Squidward went too far, like with the prank in the Krusty Krab, because like SpongeBob was doing stuff, but he wasn't, it was nothing major, and then Squidward just does that. But yeah, other than that, yeah, it's not really. Again, it's not really one I remember a whole lot about, and not. Yeah, it's just another sort of like average episode, really.
Fair
Yeah.
dues, Neptune spatula. SpongeBob manages to pull basically like King Arthur's sword. You've got the grease and the golden spatulas in the grease. Everyone's trying to pull it out, and well, actually, no one's ever pulled it out, but SpongeBob just accidentally does when he wants to take a photo. Then Neptune's like, bloody hell, it ain't him. He didn't do it. What a load of laughs and stupidness. It's you, Larry the Lobster. Then everyone's like, no,
Mm.
SpongeBob did this, and he's so pissed off, and he keeps zapping Patrick over and over again when he's like saying, "Oh, you're full of shit. It is SpongeBob." And then he zaps Patrick into rubble, but then he zaps him back to life, and his head is on his crotch and his hip area, which is quite funny. Like, well, his face is.
Well, yeah, yeah.
The actual contest itself was pretty cool. Neptune rushes through and makes a load of burgers, and everyone's like, oh, "Okay, fair play." But then obviously SpongeBob makes one good Krabby Patty, and Neptune loves it and spits it out and eats it again. Well, it doesn't like Neptune's burgers. And he's like, "Well, you can come and cook for me." And he's like, "No, I want to stay in Bikini Bottom." And he's like, "But I can teach you how to become good." And then SpongeBob's educating some super being on how to make Krabby Patties. So yeah, another above average episode, I'd say.
Yeah, I guess there's a bit of an arc there, I guess, and like, Neptune sort of um being humbled or whatever, and sort of being brought down to earth a bit more because earlier on he just becomes across as like this sort of like sort of arrogant, overconfident bully, and then you know, and then who's full of himself, and then of course the audience, the crowd tries his Krabby Patties and they don't like them, and then SpongeBob only manages to make one, but it is actually good, and then so then he ends up like learning from SpongeBob, I guess, how to make good Krabby Patties, and I guess he gets again. I guess he sort of gets what he deserves at the end for being such an arse, to be honest. So, um, yeah. Again, it's not an episode I'm crazy about, but it's kind of decent, I suppose. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, at the end of the day, he gets his comeuppance, doesn't he? So that's quite funny.
yeah,
So I'll just quickly blast through the last two. Hooky is basically an episode where Mr. Krabs says, SpongeBob, don't play with those hooks. Don't go hooky. Don't skive off work and play with the hooks. And then they go and play with the hooks. And then it's just quite bloody, but I don't know. It's just a bit repetitive. And then at the end, SpongeBob gets hooked. And then he goes, Mr. Krabs, let me in. And Pearl and her friends are there laughing at SpongeBob. Then he ends up getting that accidentally having his pants ripped off and he's naked in front of everyone. And then he's embarrassed. And then he oh yeah, you end up finding out that Squidward was doing it because Mr. Krabs told him to hook SpongeBob's pants. Then what's the next episode? Merman and Barnacle Boy 2. He gets a magic conch. He wins a conch where he can just summon the heroes. And I personally find it quite funny when he keeps getting them to do stupid stuff, but then I find it a bit boring when he joins Merman and Barnacle Boy. It just feels like a lot of pottering around, and he's not very nice about the hospitality. He gets them in trouble and ruins things for them, and you can't blame him for wanting to ditch him at the end. But it's quite funny when the dirty bubble comes and SpongeBob saves him by saying, "I want your autograph," and he just accidentally pops him with a pencil. So that was quite funny. I'd say Hookie's average, and yeah, so is Merman and Barnacle Boy too, to be honest with you. Yeah, that's what I've got to say about those two episodes.
yeah. I'd probably agree. It's not really the strongest end to the series, but there was still a fair few episodes that were my favourites, and even if like the last however many didn't really hit home for me, but yeah, like I said, they were sort of like okay episodes, but they were two of the weakest, really. Yeah. So,
Well,
mhm.
that's it then. SpongeBob season one of one of the longest reviews we've done. It's a really strong start for a first season. 40 11-minute episodes. Well, and then a short as well in Reef Blower. So yeah, really great start to a show. Some absolute bangers in there. Looking back on it and thinking on them, I feel like there wasn't as many weak points as I thought about this series, but there actually was a lot of great bangers. So yeah, I'd say it's probably like a 8.5 out of 10, to be honest. Great first series.
Hmm. I mean, the thing is, I think because, like, of course, you've got two like sort of mini episodes which make a full episode, so there's 20 episodes, and like, look at my favorites list. I've got like 10 of those episodes are in my favorites, or at least one of those mini ones. So it's sort of like 10 out of 20 are kind of my favorites. Like, so that's half kind of, but uh and I think as a result of that and the fact that there's quite a few episodes really that don't really do it for me, and especially the end when I was binging the rest of it, and a lot of those episodes at the end, like from episode like 15 onwards, were just not really captivating me. I'll probably have to give it an 8 out of 10, I think, as a result, because there's a lot of good stuff. There's some great episodes, like I say, and some really funny ones, but I think for me personally, there's a lot also that just don't. Perhaps there's still some that I think they're entertaining, but they're just not personally for me funny enough, um, and they end up like maybe some end up being a bit boring in places and having uninteresting premises as well. So yeah, I think I'll give it an 8 out of 10 as a result.
Fair enough. Well, we'll nicely wrap that one up there as it's getting a bit late. I don't want to do any segments. I've got to be up early, but we'll save the segments for till next time. Thanks for showing up, Liam. Much appreciated, and giving your thoughts on SpongeBob season one. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I look forward to series 2 as well.
Same here, man. 100%. Well,
Mhm.
that's all. I've got to say for today. Take care. Have a good one.
See ya.
Liam, by the way, a pecker means a small penis. So that's
Oh, okay. I was wondering because you kept asking after, like, as if like, "Oh, is this really what it means?" You know, I thought it was some sort of euphemism for
brilliant.
something, you know.